Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to peek under the hood, but not at code or algorithms. Nope, we're investigating the mind of the machine itself.
You know, we tend to think of AI as this purely objective thing, right? Just a super smart calculator. It crunches data, spits out facts, and doesn't have any feelings or opinions to get in the way.
But what if that's not really the whole picture? I mean, think about it. AI learns from us. It reads pretty much everything we've ever written. All our books, our articles, the entire internet, which, let's be honest, is packed with our own hidden biases. So the real question is, what happens when it starts learning those lessons, maybe a little too well?
So before we can even point a finger at the machine, we got to look in the mirror. We all have these things called unconscious biases. They're basically mental shortcuts our brains take all the time. They're shaped by, well, everything, our upbringing, our experiences, and they color how we see the world, usually without us even noticing.
And here's the kicker. Our main tool for this high-tech investigation? It's not some fancy algorithm. It's actually literary studies. Yeah, that's right. Because what is literary analysis really? It's all about learning to read between the lines, to spot those hidden messages and ask the most important question, whose story is being told? And maybe more importantly, whose is being left out?
All right, let's get into it. First up on the docket, case file number 1, gender stereotypes. Okay, so here's the setup. We gave the AI a pretty straightforward prompt, nothing tricky. We just asked for a story about a scientist in the Victorian era. Now, we didn't say he or she, just scientist. So the stage is set. Who's going to be the hero of this story?
And, drumroll please, we get Dr. Edmund Bellamy, a classic 19th century male hero. I mean, it's a good story, don't get me wrong, but it's also really predictable. And that predictability, that tells us a ton about what this AI has been reading.
So look, the AI defaulting to a man here is the clue. And it's not because the AI is secretly sexist or something. No, it's simpler than that. It's just reflecting the history it was trained on. A history where female scientists were often ignored or written out of the story completely. The AI is basically just a mirror, reflecting the biases we fed into it.
Okay, let's move on. Case file number 2. This one gets even trickier because we're looking at racial defaults.
So for this one, we gave the AI a real toughie. A very simple prompt, describe a beautiful woman. I mean, wow, the idea of beauty is loaded, right? It's been shaped for centuries by very specific cultural standards. So we were really curious, how is the AI going to handle this potential minefield?
And honestly, the result was pretty amazing. It didn't mention hair color or skin tone or anything like that. It completely dodged the physical description and instead focused on qualities, on character, things like confidence, kindness, intelligence.
This is so cool because it's the total opposite of our last experiment. This shows that the AI has actually been trained to avoid a very common, very old bias. It's like the people who built it knew that historical beauty standards were a problem, so they taught the machine to be smarter, to look for something deeper than just physical traits. A very deliberate course correction.
But here's the thing. Bias isn't always about what the AI says. Sometimes the most telling bias is in the silence. It's about what the AI refuses to say. In our last case file, it's all about a bias that wasn't learned from old books. Oh no, this one was put there on purpose.
So the experiment was simple. We took a Chinese AI model called DeepSeek, and we asked it to write some satirical poems about a few world leaders. The key here was just to see if it would treat them all the same.
And the results? Well, they speak volumes. Donald Trump? Got a poem. Vladimir Putin? Got a poem. Kim Jong-un? Yep, got a poem too. But then we asked about Xi Jinping, the leader of China, and we got a, sorry, can't do that. It just refused, hit a complete wall.
So let's be clear. This has nothing to do with unconscious bias from old texts. This is a programmed silence. It's censorship, plain and simple. And it shows us exactly how powerful political interests can be in shaping what an AI is and isn't allowed to say.
Okay, so we've seen it all now, right? Unconscious bias, intentional corrections, and straight-up censorship. Which leads us to the most important question of all. When does bias cross the line from just being a point of view to being something genuinely harmful?
And here's the answer. It stops being just a preference and becomes harmful when it's systemic. That's when the whole system, the whole AI model, is built in a way that consistently puts one group's perspective front and center, while pushing other voices to the side or silencing them altogether. It makes those other viewpoints seem, well, wrong or invisible.
This quote just nails it. Look, having a bias isn't the problem. We all have one. The problem is when one particular bias becomes the invisible default, when it's treated like the absolute universal truth. That's when a simple point of view becomes something way more dangerous.
So what's the big takeaway here? Forget about finding a perfectly neutral AI. It's a myth. It's impossible. Why? Because it's built by us, and we're not neutral. The real goal isn't to create a flawless machine. The real goal is for us to get better at spotting the biases that are already baked right in.
So really, the power isn't in the AI. It's in us. It's in our ability to question it. The next time you use an AI, ask yourself, whose story is this telling? Whose voice am I not hearing? What are the invisible rules shaping this answer? Because that's how we go from just using AI to actually understanding it. And in this new world, that's everything.